Good, happy Thursday evening, January 30th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday evening, so let's begin. First up, Mr. Schwartz says his Trump impeachment defense destroyed. Let's take a listen to this video from WHDH 7 News' Dan Housley. Dan Housley is live in Washington, D.C.
Vibrant caffeine gum. Ow! A caffeine boost with empowerment pow.
The Republicans think the end may be in sight. They think they have the votes to block witnesses in this trial. The Democrats are trying a last-minute argument, complaining about an argument Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz made yesterday, which they say amounted to, you can't impeach President Trump if he did what he thought was good for the country, even if it was good for himself.
Senate will convene.
The question and answer session will continue, though the biggest question remains, will the Senate vote to allow more witnesses and evidence into President Trump's impeachment trial?
You can get to the truth by calling witnesses who can testify.
I don't think there's a need for additional witnesses. The American public isn't paying attention anymore. They know it. We need to end this.
Much focus Wednesday on the three Republicans most likely to cross party lines and vote for witnesses. Senators Collins, Romney, and Murkowski. They asked the first question about what to do if President Trump's motives were mixed, personal, and in the national interest.
And if a president does something which he believes will help him get elected in the public interest, that cannot be the kind of quid pro quo that results in impeachment.
All quid pros are not the same. Some are legitimate and some are corrupt, and you don't need to be a mind reader to figure out which is which.
On witnesses, Democrats keeping a close eye on three red state members of their own party who have yet to announce their stance. And potential Republican swing vote, Lamar Alexander, who could give Democrats the 51 votes needed to bring witnesses. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer's optimism diminishing, though, as the clock runs out.
The president and Mitch McConnell put huge pressure on these folks. I hope we can get witnesses and documents. It's an uphill fight. Is it more like than not? Probably no. But is it a decent, good chance? Yes.
Republicans sensing the finish line may be within reach.
It's time to bring this to an end. Let's vote. We've heard the evidence. They don't have a case. Let's vote.
Now, Alan Dershowitz this morning has been saying he was misquoted or taken out of context. Expect the Dershowitz comments to be the subject of the first one or two questions in just about a half hour. We're live on Capitol Hill. Dan Housley, 7 News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And the impeachment hearing trial is still happening right now. Let's take a listen in and watch some of it right now.
Democratic side, and there was one from the Republican side. So if we're going to take that same 4-to-1 analysis, for every one of their witnesses, we should get 4. But there was a question earlier asked about the fruit of the poisonous tree. The taint of the poison does not age well. The longer it goes does not make that poison go away. It gets deeper and deeper into the soil. And here the soil we're talking about is a trial that would be not only ongoing, but they put up 17 witnesses. You heard them. They're acting like there's been...
Okay, if you want to watch this, continue watching it, you can just go to the Riley King Network Facebook page and you will find it on our page, or you can go to the ABC News Live Facebook page and you can find it on their page as well. Now let's get to some other news. Coronavirus tests on 2 people in New Hampshire come back negative. patients fully recovered. Patients had recently traveled to China. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
And breaking this noon, coronavirus tests for 2 patients in New Hampshire have come back negative. State health officials say both patients have fully recovered. Both were held in isolation while waiting for the results. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll take an in-depth look at how the virus is spreading across the globe and how health officials are responding.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Alvine High School mourns 2 graduates who died in the line of duty. Procession planned for Thursday for slain police officer. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Bernie Sanders is on our side and always has been, fighting to protect a woman's right to choose.
At Alvern High School, for the second time in 4 days, the morning announcements began on a somber note.
This time, I would ask our entire building to offer today's moment of silence to the memory of Ryan Phaneuf.
Captain Ryan Phaneuf was killed along with another pilot when their plane went down Monday in Afghanistan. Phaneuf graduated from Alvern in 2007. Last Thursday, Officer Katie Thine died during a traffic stop in Virginia. She had graduated in 2013.
A number of our faculty had both of these students, and the sadness is here.
Along with an appreciation for their service and sacrifice.
Follow your line of your greens. So like right here?
A floral design class was putting together an arrangement for Officer Thine's procession later today. During their time at Alvern, both students were members of the junior ROTC. Colonel Kevin Grady taught both of them.
I think that the strong character for both of them was there from the very start.
Grady says Captain Phaneuf started many of their community service programs.
He had a really nice sense of humor. He was a really kind person and very quiet leadership style.
And asked what he will miss about Officer Thine.
I'm going to miss Katie's smile and her infectious enthusiasm. I'm sorry, this is hard.
At 7:30 tonight, there will be a community service in honor of Officer Katie Thine. Now, that's been moved to the football field behind the school here because they are anticipating a large crowd. Services for Captain Phaneuf have not yet been announced. Reporting live in Hudson, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire House Judiciary Committee hears testimony on 4 anti-abortion bills. New Hampshire is among the latest restrictive states when it comes to abortion. New Hampshire is among the latest restrictive states when it comes to abortion, but lawmakers are considering a package of bills that would swing it far in the other direction. Anti-abortion lawmakers and activists across the country have been pushing near total bans on the procedure, hoping the new conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court will reconsider Roe versus Wade, the landmark 1973 ruling that legislated abortion nationwide. The New Hampshire House Judiciary Committee heard testimony Wednesday on 4 anti-abortion bills, including one that would ban abortions after the detection of a fatal heartbeat. Similar laws in other states have been blocked by courts, and the same would happen in New Hampshire, said Devon, executive director of the state's American Civil Liberties Union chapter. She and other opponents said, taken together, the proposed legislation would make obtaining an abortion so difficult the right to abortion might as well not exist. A second bill would specifically that infants that are born alive to be treated as legal persons under state law and would subject doctors to criminal charges for not providing them with medical care. A third would prohibit abortions on basis of gender and genetic embodiments, and the fourth would require potential notification before a minor gets an abortion. New Hampshire has parental notification law, but it allows teens to bypass telling their parents by getting a judge's permission. The new proposal would eliminate that bypass option. Democrats control both chambers of the New Hampshire legislature, and similar bills have failed even when Republicans had majorities. Jennifer Albine told the committee she came close to getting an abortion at age 24, but she was glad she had her now 11-year-old son and his 3 siblings, of whom accompanied her to the hearing. But Annie Johnson told lawmakers that getting an abortion after she was raped saved her life. New Hampshire officials report progress in reducing wait times for psychiatric beds. Data: number of days psychiatric patients spent in the emergency department decreased by 60% in the last 2 years. New Hampshire continues to make progress in reducing time psychiatric patients spend waiting in emergency rooms for inpatient care. The Department of Health and Human Services and Republican Governor Chris Sununu released new data Wednesday showing that the total number of days psychiatric patients spent in the emergency department decreased by 60% in the last 2 years. The average length of time individuals waited for admission to the state psychiatric hospital or a designated receiving facility decreased from 6 days to just under 4 days during that time. Lawmakers passed bipartisan legislation aimed at addressing the problem in 2017 and followed up last year with funding for mobile crisis teams, designated receiving beds for patients in mental health crisis, and supporting housing for those living the state mental health hospital. State Senate gives primarily approval to minimum wage bill. State currently defaults to federal minimum wage of $7.25. New minimum wage bill. Let's take a listen to this video from WR News 9.
Bernie Sanders is on our side and always has been. fighting to protect a woman's right to choose.
Also just happening, the state Senate has once again voted to raise the minimum wage. The bill, pushed by Democrats, would push the minimum wage to $10 an hour in 2021 and then $12 an hour in 2023. A similar bill was vetoed by Governor Sununu last year.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Thursday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you for this Thursday evening. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the red and went down. Oil closed in the green and went up. US 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VAX closed in the red and went down. Dow rises more than 100 points in late comeback, erases a 244-point drop. Stocks closed higher on Thursday after a sharp comeback later in the session, erased earlier losses stemming from concerns around the coronavirus. Coronavirus declared global health emergency by WHO. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
As the coronavirus continues to spread globally, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announcing Thursday the first human-to-human coronavirus transmission in the U.S. between two patients in Illinois. Today, the World Health Organization declaring a global health emergency. There are now more than 7,700 confirmed cases worldwide, the death toll climbing to 170 in China, where cases are now confirmed in every province and 20 countries around the world. American families evacuated from the virus epicenter in China, some paying thousands for charter flights back to the United States.
When we first stepped on board, my jaw dropped. I've never seen a plane set up like that before. It was a wide-open cargo plane, but had passenger seats in it. It felt like something out of a movie.
Nearly 200 Americans now under quarantine at a California base.
We're hoping to get back home this weekend.
Blood samples, throat and nose swab cultures taken from every passenger sent to the CDC headquarters for testing. The White House announcing President Trump has formed a task force meeting daily to lead the American response. But where some see alarm over the potentially deadly virus, Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross sees an opportunity.
I think it will help to accelerate the return of jobs to North America, some to U.S., probably some to Mexico as well.
Several airlines have scaled back flights to and from China, and the White House is even considering suspending all flights from China until the virus is under control. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye, everyone.